Greetings everyone, this is Lodrik and this is the Game War in the Pacific Admirals Edition in the match against Dojo. Today we will check turn number 57, means the activity for 29th and 30th March 1942. I record and upload this video now earlier than Dojo. Not sure, maybe Dojo will upload his own video the day or tonight, the next day maybe. But I will travel to Shanghai the next 2 days. So, and I will be maybe offline for 2 weeks if it's a little unluckily. So I want at least put one video online on YouTube before I have to leave. If maybe I still have good enough internet in the hotel in Shanghai, but my colleagues told me it's just enough to load and send out some emails, but not more. So we can see here now that there's still some Dutch submarines around of Batavia. And I have here my sub-chasers assistance, normally good for this shallow water, but at least we must find the enemy submarine before we can even try to attack. And here's a light cargo ship, maybe the supply line from Pearl Harbor to Midway. So I found one of Dojo's small supply unit. Nothing really important here, but the submarine consume a lot of shells and saves the torpedoes. Okay, so this is now more or less the same engagement we had the turn before or the day before, and last turn my heavy cruiser took two 15-inch hits, and the damage was acceptable, but at a point where I would say better don't enter any more additional battles. Unluckily, more or less the first shell hit Mugami again, but it was only a tower hit, so no, I think important critical hit, at least for the Mugami. So it was a 15-inch hit, but with only minor damage maybe. So we are here also at 6,000 yards at night time, but with very high moonlight. So normally best situation for the Japanese. But the problem is that my heavy cruiser, at least the Mugami, is normally not more able to fight much. And if I am lucky, I can create here some torpedo hits now. My 20 centimeter hits still hit. I mean, the point is that the Japanese heavy cruisers are creating so many hits, but for the battleships, this have no impact. We can hit, I think, the battleships 100 times with 20 centimeter shells and still not create enough damage to force the battleship to sail for the port. And now we have a 15-inch hit on Kumano. So this means that now both of my heavy cruisers are now really damaged. But here this is the point. But we make a torpedo hit on a light cruiser, not on the battleship, pitifully. But at least Dauntless is now, I think, heavily damaged and have to return to port. If we can survive this battle, at least. these 4-inch shells will have no real impact for my heavy cruising, so this I really not care too much. The problem is we still have no and there's a next 15-inch hit on my heavy cruiser, so now Mogami and Kumano both have 2 or even 3 15-inch hits. There's not more much left for my heavy cruisers here, I think. But Japanese Navy will fight to the bitter end. Some fire. Of course, a 4-inch shell will always damage destroyers. Destroyers have simply no armor, so anything, nearly everything what a destroyer will hit will create damage. If it's enough damage to really have an impact is another question, of course. And the next torpedo, and okay, now we get a torpedo hit on the Millis. So now 1 torpedo hit on the light cruiser and 1 torpedo hit in the battleship. Not that this is enough, I would say, but the task force commander, depending how aggressive he is and all this stuff, he maybe will break away and try to bring his task force, in this case Dojo's task force, try to return to Perth. And at least then there's a chance that I can maybe limp back with my heavy cruiser formation to Surabaya if nothing happened here now. But it's very critical here now. If now the British units can create a torpedo hit on my heavy cruisers, then it's for sure over. The question is who will make the next hit. Any more 15-inch hits on my heavy cruisers and it's over. Any torpedo hit on my ships and it's over. And again 20 centimeter hit, but cannot penetrate the armor belt. Even my destroyer is getting now the beating. But the Allied Task Force commander, for what reason ever, choose after 2 torpedo hits on his ships to break away. And the light cruiser is heavy damage. Maybe this is the reason why the Task Force commander say he want to break. Both my heavy cruisers have now fire. Still not heavy damage, but at the end the Japanese damage control crews are not really so good. So if you have heavy fire on a ship, this is really can end very bad, very fast, bad. Yeah. At least my task force survived this night. Something just sunk, and it was an Allied ship, so maybe the light cargo ship, that is possible. Again, the Dutch submarine and my subchaser, but again, we can detect the submarine, but we simply cannot come in an attack position. Mogami a flotation damage. Okay. So this is one of the last, I think, American bases, but undefended. Pick up, rise the flag, and sail to the next island. Okay. Ooh, an AVP. I really don't know what kind of ship is an AVP. Something, I think, like a support tender. But maybe Dojo use this now for anti-submarine task forces. I mean, AGP is a tender for small craft stuff. AVP is maybe also a tender for small patrol gunboats. Everything what is smaller than a destroyer. Oh, it looks like that the Dojo's battleship task force really returned to Perth and not try to finish off my cruiser formation. This is a question of maybe if my cruiser formation is already defeated and it's only a question of time to die. But at the end of the turn we can check the damage if I survive this turn. So far the Japanese Navy was always more or less successful. This was really the first heavily it was a defeat for the Japanese Navy, but it was of course a battle nearly cannot win. 2 heavy cruisers against 2 battleships is simply too unbalanced. By pure luck, if you have immediately a torpedo hit, maybe, but if the odds are even, then or if there's simply no luck, then battleships have simply armor protection, bigger guns, more range. Yeah. This is a typical Chinese bombardment. Here's still some Chinese units with flak. So Dojo's source Chinese army have some supply at least, but no air cover. Here in the east of Xi'an, this Dojo's whatever Chinese army is also out of supplies, no flag more. Not that this Chinese flag is really dangerous. I let them run at 7,000 feet and this is not much happened more. Okay, Dojo's B7 in the back. I think last turn already they attacked me. But first they are long range. So only half bomb load. and there is simply for me not really much I can do. At least I don't want to really invest here heavily to build an airbase. I normally ignore it. So long he don't attack a Surabaya, Balikpapan or Tarakan, this is for me not really anything I would fight for. For the Japanese it's really important secure the oil fields, the factories, the ports, what is really important. And all this small island stuff and nonsense bases somewhere at the end of the world, the Japanese have simply not enough units, supplies to maintain everything. I would always say try to focus what is important. And if the allies won't mess up with this small stuff, then let them. I ignore it. Yeah, not easy here bombard in this heavy rough terrain. For sure not a good trade for supplies, but I use it for training. At least I can train my pilots. I think the Australian guys are much easier to kill. I mean, at least a little. Chinese dying simply much faster. And in greater numbers. But maybe because there are also more Chinese, so more potential units you can kill, or I can kill in this case now. Yeah. This is a more dangerous, this B-25 Navy bombers, ship hunter, whatever. They coming in normal range, so they have the full bomb load, 6,000 feet. It's simply a zone of air I cannot cover. I normally need here aircraft carrier to cover this, and maybe I must build up here 1 or 2 air bases, but like I said before, it's the lowest priority for me now. A lot of bombing in China. Dojo tries some, at least some, strikes on his own, but not with much results to show off. So this is now, I think, I bring here a Japanese Navy Guard unit behind the line, and I want to simply take this base. So this unit is completely cut off. If there's no base, more friendly base nearby an army unit, then they normally will, the tendency is high that they will all lay down the arms and surrender. So I won't normally take this base before I take this east, or this Surabaya Dutch army. I won't get rid of them. They're already broken, but they maybe run away 4 times if I only kick them. So I want first take all bases around. Good, this is now, I don't know more. The 3rd battle, maybe, I think so. The 3rd battle. And there is normally only this BFF, I don't know if it is BDE brigade, no, whatever it is, there's something British, but they're giving up. But they all running. No prisoner of war, pitifully. But the Japanese, I think, have attack value after all calculations. This is more or less maybe normal. But British, yeah, Dojo's British units, they falling. They cannot hold the line. Low morale, no, and they high fatigue. So, and again, nearly no losses on the Japanese side. But of course, I burn his supplies. And this will increase my fatigue and so on over time. But the British army units are here nearly completely all destroyed. They're running, but there's normally not more much left. What is escaping? This is number 101 battle maybe. I always try to make this bombardment. Only to force Dojo to keep the combat formation and yeah, let him escape, but only very slowly. At the same time, I maybe can create more damage on him than on my own units. Again, try to remember that I must kill 4 to 1 to have an equally victory point calculation. So if I have 2 destroyed or 1 destroyed Japanese squad, to have the same point value, I must kill 4 Chinese. So even if I have here always much better unit kills, I need 4 to 1 kill ratio at least to have at the end an even kill ratio for victory points calculations. And again, maybe the last turn or I hope next turn I can bring my additional new Japanese division here. No change here, equally. Okay, Battle of Rangoon. But my 25th army is very low on supplies, so I have here some handicap on my side. Of course, I'm not sure if Dojo have enough supplies for his army, but I think it's more easy for Dojo to have his supplies than for me. Okay. At the end, at first it was a success because the Japanese can reduce the fort level, and I have at the end a 2 to 1 victory. And I can increase my attack value, but also Dojo can increase his attack value nearly double. I only get less than 50% additional strike force. So Dojo fight successful with the units he have, but I have simply more attack value and better commandos or command change or HQ bonus. Low morale, no preparation or not enough preparation, but again I not really trust this kind of modification stuff. And I have to pay here now this in blood, but this is, I would say, always normal, especially if there's a stronger unit in fort level, and we have here now I think a fort level of originally maybe of 3. Yeah, because we reduced to 2, so we must have a fort level of 3, and I think this is must everyone have to accept this. Now we have the shock attack of Palmbang. I mean, both battles are important. Rangoon and Palmbang must fall to the Japanese in time. And here is similar, but of course the Japanese have the Japanese army dropped here a lot of attack value, but still enough to have the 2 to 1 attack advantage, reduce the fort level to 1. Higher losses, but in this case most of the Japanese are only disabled, but most of the Dutch units are destroyed, So maybe next day we can take over Palmbang or Rangoon. It's still possible. Okay. Was not the best day for me. especially because my cruiser formation had to fight another day or another night. This was for sure kinda no wish of from my side. Yeah, have we really not much navy units left to support this invasion, but I also don't really expect that Dojo would run his cruisers or destroyers nearby. Simply because if I have the air power in Surabaya, torpedo bombers and so on. Oh, now is important. So the Ramirez had a torpedo hit from the heavy cruiser, and now it gets a second torpedo hit from a submarine. And this is the third torpedo hit now. Oi. So this is now interesting. So our both heavy cruisers are maybe doomed, but it looks like that at least the Japanese can pay back something. 2 torpedo hits, and we had already 1 torpedo hit, so now 3 torpedo hits on the Ramirez. Will be something that Dojo have to fix. And torpedo hits normally create always flotation damage, so flotation damage normally always slow down a ship. And that will make it more easily for my submarines to maybe sneak again and have a surprise or a torpedo attack. Yeah, this is useless because it's deep water. There will be never ever something happened. Yeah, at least Dojo's submarines consume torpedoes. If this is of course a question, if this is a good trade for the Japanese, 2 heavy cruisers for 1 British battleship, I would say no, not really. From point view, yeah, of course, a heavy cruiser is maybe like 50 points, so 100 points for the Japanese lose, and the battleship is maybe 180 points, so normally sounds good, but I would say no. Simply because the Japanese, they get no replacement, and the Allies, they have so many battleships. Okay, now sub attack on the Enterprise. Pity. Enterprise can escape. This was the wrong ship, and my poor submarine get the 1 hit. Okay, this is acceptable. 4 torpedoes and no hit on the Enterprise. Yeah. I more or less I call in all my submarines nearby, and I calculated roughly where I can maybe intercept Dojo's forces. But of course, this is often purely luck. 1 submarine for 1 hex is simply normally not enough. But if I bring all my submarines in 1 hex, then the chance that the Dojo maybe sail or cruise around is high. So I spread open my submarines more, and every hex 1 submarine, so that maybe at least 1 submarine can have an attack. And it looks like it was successful. The Ramirez will, it will maybe not sink with this. Some battleship maybe can handle normally 5 torpedo hits. At that point it gets maybe critical. But it will normally create a lot of flotation damage, and this slow down the ship, and it means that the ship have to enter a shipyard. And Perth is only a very small shipyard, so only emergency repair can maybe happen there. Okay. This time the submarine cannot enter attack position. and now is airstrike. Good. The first day was clearly, I would say, a victory for Dojo. But now in the second day, the Japanese submarines strike back. Even if they cannot kill the submarine, they create enough damage. Still, the whole operation was not what I expected. I normally send my heavy cruiser and light cruiser formation west of Perth to intercept cargo shipping, not to enter and meet a battleship formation. And now the China bombardment. A lot of air assets, but nearly no impact on Dojo's China units. The terrain is simply too rough. Naja, this looks a little better. At least no additional flotation damage. Looks like that the Japanese heavy cruisers maybe can handle the fire. This is the most important, I would say. But somehow here are allied scout planes, wherever they come from. One dead Catalina is always a good Catalina. This attack was not so good. Okay. Again, long range P-17s, but simply no really impact. Get a little disabled Navy Guard units not important here. Okay, so all the ship crew Damage control tests was successful. This is already a relief. No additional flotation damage. Okay, bombardment. Yeah, just so. So still my second division not arrived. Good. Next battle of Rangoon. Maybe the victory is with the 25th Japanese army this time. Or can hold Dojo again. Looks like. Yeah. This time the Japanese attack values are dropping, but Dojo cannot increase its attack value. So at the end, like the day before, a Japanese victory fortification level go down. But now also can see that my Japanese units, they are now official lacking supplies. And I have a lot of disabled units, not so much destroyed. But Dojo lost 2 units completely are destroyed. And he also have now still high numbers on disabled. It was a tactical victory for the Japanese, but of course Dojo can still hold the city. And I'm running really out of supplies. I cannot do this much longer. So maybe the attack on Palembang will be a success at least. Look.
Greetings everybody, how's tricks? This is Orphan Anne from Radio Tokyo, saying hello to all of her dog faces and boneheads wandering the Pacific Island. Before we start the music, the Japanese High Command announced today that the ever-victorious forces of the Japanese Empire have captured Palembang.
Thank you. Good news, Tokyo Ghost. So Rangoon was too stiff. British stubbornness holds the line, but for how long we will see. The Dutch maybe are more clever. They simply run away and try to save their lives. And I think last attack I already reduced the fort level to 1, and now the engineers blow up the last fort level, so I attack here without any fort level, so no additional defense bonus. And it's enough. Nearly no losses on my side. The Dutch forces are broken. Not destroyed, but broken. Palembang is ours. Or, in this case, Japan's. And this was the last battle of the day. So, overall, a mixed success battle. I mean, the air war was nearly non-existent. Only the standard bombardment in China and the nonsense bombardment from Dojo with no real impact. The Navy battle was mixed. I would say mixed. Let's first check the intelligence reports. Say from air point of view was nearly nothing happened normally. I think most important is that one Catalina was dead. Yeah, I lost 2 scout planes. Dojo lost a fighter. And the Dragon repeat is maybe also a scout plane, I'm not so sure. But the Catalina gets killed by my cap fighters. But not really any impact here. Ship sunk last turn. From the Japanese, nothing. From the Allies, official. The Ramils go down, but of course I must say, I saw the torpedo impact, but I never heard any sinking sound after this. So, if the Dauntless go down, I also hear no sinking sound of this. So, I doubt. I cannot really confirm any kill of this. The Teal maybe go down, you hear the sinking sound shortly after. And there was a cargo ship, I think, maybe go down. But these three ships, we will see if in the next days I can find them again, or latest 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days after a kill, the nation will confirm that the ship is lost. But we will see. I know only to make sure. So this ship is a last turn. It's a 180 point ship. 15-inch guns, have radar already, so it's normally a good ship. It's only this old class dreadnoughts with a lower speed, not fast battleship, standard battleship speed. But it's a 31,000 ton ship, so similar to Nagato. Good. So then let's first check Palmbang, because now I take Palmbang. The question is now how much damage this battle created. And the refineries are luckily only 51 damage out of 1000. So 95% fine. The oil similar, good. Resources, nearly nothing gets damaged. Not that I care, manpower I also don't care. So I took Palmbang and nearly nothing gets damaged. I think I can repair this. And I also conquer some supplies, not too much supplies. Not much oil or fuel here, but over 250,000 tons of crude oil. So I think that the Dojo maybe had the oil cannot switch off. The production will always run, but at some point Dojo would switch off the production of the fuel. So this is the reason maybe why he has not much fuel, but a lot of oil. And this is normally for me at the end nearly doesn't matter. Because normally the Japanese running out of oil before they're running out of fuel, but depending on how you play the game. Good. Rangoon is my units having now really low supplies, or with an air for attack value. So I have 1, 2, 3 full divisions. They have still some supplies and some support units. So they're not completely out of supplies, but I can maybe one or two more turns I can strike on Rangoon, but then the British must be defeated. But it looks like that Dojo losing every turn 1 fort level, and this will normally help my units to win here maybe the battle. My attack value is down to 1800, so it's maybe still enough. And I took also this smaller city, but here's no installation, so I normally can rush now my tanks and try to catch up these British forces and completely wipe them from the map, out of the map. And maybe conquer center of Burma without much resistance. Normally my main goal is this base. Here's 300 oil and 100 refinery. If I can take this without a fight, this will really help. Here's not much. Here's only some resources. This is not so important. Here's also nothing. So normally this base is really important. If I can take this and don't damage or destroy my installation, this will help me in the long run. Center was not much battle here. I tried to catch Dojo, but Dojo ran away. Nothing new. My big army arrived here in the mountains and is now... we arrived here. Dojo was here before in the Hex, I think, but he escaped to the base. So I have now to fight it out in singing. in 2 turns I think I will arrive, and in 3 turns then we have the Battle of Singing. And depending how strong the fort level is here, I maybe can take the city immediately, or yeah, maybe need more time. Here is now the Long March on Urumqi, the capital of Inner Mongolia, but this needs long time to arrive there. Here is not much more. Philippines is over, nothing happened here. Palembang is mine. I have to clean up here the last bases. And important is now normally here only the last thing here. These are my submarines, but I lost the detection level. So somehow, somewhere is Dojo's battleship fleet here, but I don't know where. But must be somewhere here, I would say. So maybe I will make a line or 2 lines of submarines simply to block the way back to Perth. Because normally after 3 torpedo hits, I would say that the battleship is maybe with 20-30 flotation damage at least, and must go back to a port. If he will go on, which port he will go? Yeah, normally he will go to Perth, I would say. Perth have at least a port of 5, but only a small shipyard. The shipyard is of course useless for the battleship. But okay, the other question is now, how is my my formation is looking now. Most important is no fire. Okay. Also, second most important is no dark red numbers. And of course, here is a dark orange, so this is maybe this is more or less the damage. This is the maximum damage. If it's changing to a dark red number, then normally it will increase over time. This damage is just possible to sail back to a base without losing normally control over the situation. But now it's really, there is really nothing more left. Any additional hit will really quickly be the end of my ships. And I have here, this is my light cruiser formation. These are I don't know why, I think they split. Maybe they split, I don't know. And here is one additional task force, but I'm not sure what is this. This, I don't think that this are the battleships, because Dojo's commander say he won't break the battle, so I think he go back to Perth, and we had here this torpedo attack. So this must be something else, but I don't have additional information. The only point is, I know it must have some scout planes, so it must have light cruisers or heavy cruisers, something like this. But no carrier, because normally if there will be a carrier, I would expect a carrier strike. So I would say light cruiser, heavy cruisers, or battleships. But if 2 battleships are here, and I sunk 2 or 3 British battleships, so I don't think that the British have much more battleships, and the Americans' battleships are, at least at this time, normally are all in Pearl Harbor, still under repair. So we must see what happens next turn here with this task force. I hope only that they don't find my heavy cruisers. Naja. Good. And not much more. I had here my carrier fleet, try to intercept something, but here was nothing. I come here again, New Caledonian, Australia, nothing to pick. I have also here a battleship formation. The problem is now the battleship formation is east of Australia, but I normally need them west of Australia. But this is so I will maybe do something very strange. Maybe I will try to bring my battleships here around, try to intercept here some shipping in Melbourne, and then if they have the range, try to bring them west of Perth. But normally, of course, they are too late now. But at least I can try to bring them here slowly. And maybe after the submarines trying to slow down everything, and some ships get their damage, then maybe my battleships can sail in and pick up some burned ships or damaged ships and have an easy victory. But this is only a hope, and this is not a good tactic, but I have not much more to do. I also will create, I think, here some emergency task forces, but this is first next turn, so because I have here not much I can really use, so I'm little in a situation. I have simply no assets. I had only this one heavy cruiser and one light cruiser formation, and they must fight it out somehow. They must try to return to Soabaya, and they must try to arrive here in time. I will bring my torpedo bombers here in position so that I can maybe, if I maybe at here 11, my torpedo bombers can go easily to 15, 16. So this is the position my formations must reach, that I can create something or can bring air cover. But you can see my heavy cruisers are here, so this is a 21 hexes, and this is the direct line. I can normally not go directly, so we must go this way. So maybe a distance of 30 hex I must cover with my damaged ships before I have maybe the hope to have air cover. And maybe Dojo will not try to come too close to Soabaya, because every ship will be in range of my long range torpedo attack bombers, will have a dangerous position and the possibility to sink fast. Good. Today I don't want to make it too long, because this is nearly the last. This is the last day of March. So next turn, if we enter April, I can talk about a little R&D stuff and production and so on and so on. Thank you all. See you. Bye bye.